This episode of Backstage with Richard Ridge is presented by the Living Room at W New York Times Square, a playful nod to Times Square of the past and a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of the city. Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. My guest is one of Broadway's favorite funny men whose career spans 18 years. And now he is back on Broadway, stopping the show nightly as Ogie in Sarah Bareilles' new musical Waitress, and he's been nominated for a Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. Please welcome Christopher Fitzgerald.
Hi.
I got it out, right?
You got it out.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
18 years.
Yeah, and that was only 18 takes to get that whole thing.
Isn't that good?
18 years. We just figured that out.
They only give me 20 takes. They're like, forget it, we're done.
Then we're done.
18 years, seriously. I mean, it seems like only yesterday. I've known you for a long time, my friend, right?
I feel like we both still look
We look
pretty
good, right?
good, yeah.
You have a full head of hair. Mine's thinning.
Thinning, yeah.
Thinning, right?
It's just starting to go away, but no one
will notice, right?
No one will notice. And the sunscreen. You put a lot of sunscreen?
A lot of sunscreen on.
Yeah, that's why.
Like
no
40-ish?
wrinkles.
What do you think? Thank you?
Yeah, 40.
It's the filters we have.
I would drop it. 30, 38?
38.
Yeah.
You can sit here anytime you want.
You got it.
All right.
Where are we?
We're at the W Hotel in the living room.
We're at the W, right down the street from Waitress.
Right down the street from Waitress.
Yeah, this is really cool.
All right. What is it like stopping the show 8 times a week in Waitress?
What is it like?
Yeah.
Wow. It is really fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun to play a watch that I'll take you through it. When I watched the movie.
Yeah.
And Barry Weissler was like, watch this movie and we're going to do a reading. Would you like to come and join us in this reading? And I watched the movie and I loved the movie and I loved this little character. Couldn't quite picture how you would musicalize, that particular character or storyline. And then I went to their apartment. This was like 4 years ago, and Sarah Bareilles sat at a piano and played the songs that she had written, and we kind of read the screenplay essentially. And it was an amazing moment to watch that all synthesized together. It was really, really cool. And I just remember hearing those songs and feeling like, wow, these are going to be. I would love to get my hands on these songs. So, and then we did some subsequent readings, and I just feel like over time, I was worried that a character coming that late into a play, into a story, was not going to register. That like you wouldn't, meeting a character 50 minutes into a story was not going to. You were going to kind of already be familiar with the story, and investing in a new character was going to be hard. But what I learned very quickly is, I feel like the audience is like dying for this kind of character, a character that is positive, that is so focused and so profoundly weird and strange, is just like the palate cleanser that you need in this kind of story where people are really struggling. It's very funny and very beautiful, but people are kind of everyone's not quite found their feet as characters. Everyone's a little kind of desperate and trying to figure some stuff out. And so when this guy comes in, it's a great palate cleanser. And so it's really fun to know that it works. Yeah. I love that.
But you have the audience in the palm of your hand as soon as they see you in that restaurant. As soon as they see you there.
Do they really?
Yeah. Don't you feel it?
Was I in the palm of your hand?
Yes.
Wow.
Twice.
Was I heavy? Yeah.
Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between, okay.
But don't you feel it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
As I said, it's just I think they've also had little pellets along the way of Dawn talking about going on this date and describing this guy, and you start to just get these little pellets of who this guy is, these little breadcrumbs along the way. And so I think once you finally see this person, you're kind of you know a little bit about him before you see him, and so I think the anticipation of that is kind of. It's fun for the audience. And it is. It's fun. It's amazing to come out and have people ready to enjoy that particular part of the story. It's fantastic. I don't know if I've ever experienced anything like it.
How do you describe him?
He's very, very. I don't know how you describe him. He's like the weirdest person on the planet. He is. I imagine him. I imagine that he kind of lives like in the basement of his mother's house, maybe. But he's a really like positive person. He's got so many interests. He's somebody who just
Yeah.
fills his life with interests, and he's just one of the, you meet people. I find like if you give somebody a chance, you can find out everyone has strange, beautiful, interesting things about them that you'd never know unless you kind of took a few extra steps.
Yeah.
And this is a classic example of that. Like, you meet this guy, he's kind of hair slicked down, he's a tax auditor, and yet he's got his dream world, his world of himself is like, it's massive. It's bigger than the universe. His love of poetry, his love of music, of dancing, of art, of love. His love of love is so big that it's just, there's nothing more fun to play. Yeah.
Working with this incredible all-female creative team.
Yep. They are all women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special?
Are they special?
Has it been special?
It has been very special.
Are they special?
Are they special people? They are very special people. I don't know if that really has had any kind of bearing on kind of the way the process was a very similar process to any process. But everyone has had such an amazing contribution in their own way, and especially with what I got to work on, I found that the creative team was really fun to kind of to get goodies from all of them, and as I built this character with them. Jessie Nelson, who wrote the screenplay, or who wrote the book based on the screenplay, she works a lot in film, and what was so fun with her is, I think because she works in film, she likes to write for the moment. Yeah. And so we would try out 10 different things, and she was always kind of coming up with ideas, and I would pitch her ideas, and we would kind of, so it was always fun. She always had a million things that we would try, and then, 8 times it would all fail, and then maybe the last time it would get that much better, and we would go back to the one that failed and use that one. No, I'm kidding. But then, and Sarah Bareilles, who has an incredible sense of humor and is so bright, and musically just, on another level. And a side note to Sarah, I just think it's so cool that she is somebody who is at the height of her kind of professional pop stardom career, and wants to write for a musical theater. I just think that is just so. I can't remember the last time. Do you know, like, the last time somebody came from that world, kind of directly in their 30s, like
not that young,
as opposed to someone like,
Cyndi Lauper
or Sting, or somebody who's kind of branching out into new avenues.
Yeah.
This is someone who's like kind of did some albums and now is like, I want to write stories. Yeah. I just think that's really cool, and you can kind of feel it in the way she writes. It's like it's very current sounding, and it's amazing how well she's written for actors to take and to mine and put over. They're not just pop songs; they're really songs for actors, which is just crazy that she just knew how to do that.
And then there's Diane Paulus.
Who was so great for me at giving freedom. She is like best idea wins person, and that's so cool. Yeah. So and she actually asks you to bring in ideas. It's kind of like, bring what, she'll kind of give you some ideas of her own, but she's really like, let's you play and I'll help you edit.
I love that.
And so for me, that's gold. That's my dream. That's the dream way to work for me. And Lauren Latero, also as the choreographer, also came with some ideas and was also really good at like editing and just giving freedom and helping kind of shape the whole thing. So they all were. It was just a great collaborative team effort as far as I was concerned.
Then there's the incredible cast you get to work with.
Yeah. That's where it goes really south.
See, I knew it was going to be something like that.
Creative team, great. Cast. It's weird. I've worked with so many wonderful people on this. To a person. Yeah. Stinkers. All of them. Especially that Jessie Mueller. Have you ever met a meaner person?
She is...
Cruel. She's just cruel. She'll come off stage and she just kind of... She like spits on my shoes.
I don't think there's anyone nicer in the business than her.
The ice machine agrees.
The ice machine agrees.
No, I think you're sitting with someone who's also...
You, of course.
Yeah.
But you're in a whole different category.
There you go. I'm nice and cute.
Yes.
Okay.
You are both of those, but she is too.
Yeah, you're right. She is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm nice and cute, and I can sing.
Yeah.
Well, she can do that.
She can do that too, right?
Yeah.
She's amazing in the show.
She's amazing. Fine. She's great. She's perfect.
Yeah.
She is. Drives me crazy.
So, what's it like when you meet the fans afterwards?
They're just so. I think they feel. They love it. I feel like they've laughed. I feel like they all have like red water eyes from crying.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to people. And when that happens, that's just gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. Where did your love for performing begin? Did your mom put you in clown school at like 5?
Were you there?
Yes, I was.
We
there.
were in clown school together when I was 5.
I was the tall clown.
You were the tall clown, but you wore a bow tie. You didn't have your long purple.
No,
you had your wide purple. And you see that funny thing when you balance the chair? I remember. It was hilarious.
But you balance a chair, don't you?
I do. I balance objects on my face.
All right. Did you learn it then?
I started the process then.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew.
How did that happen? How did your mom say, "I'm putting you in clown school"?
I think
as opposed to Little League or something
survival
like that.
for her.
Okay.
Basically, what is this creature that's running around the house?
Yeah.
We got to figure out how to. What is I
he?
want you to imagine that.
Yeah.
You know, basically, what I do as Ogie is like, imagine an an unfiltered version of that would be what I was when I was like 4.
Okay.
Just running around crazy, and I think that was part of her survival was like, let's figure out, this seems to have some kind of affinity for, look at me! Yeah. And so she put me in this class that I still remember. Sam Kilborn was the teacher, and I just remember beginning the process of like learning clowning and juggling and just being able to kind of tap into these kind of weird impulses
at that age. To be that focused to learn this stuff.
Yeah, and I think I both found it really freeing.
Yeah.
And I found working, doing this kind of stuff also helped focus me.
Yeah.
And I still feel that. I feel like it's the combination of freedom and focus that still kind of inspires me and juices me and moves me forward.
Yeah.
It's like I take what I do unbelievably seriously, to a point that it's like I get every moment I want crafted and I want it to be right, and I need it to land, and I need to know that it's and yet what I'm doing is the most juvenile, stupid, weird things, and yet I take those things very seriously. Yeah. And it's like that's kind of what I love about what I do. So like I get kind of both worlds, and so that's where that kind of stuff began. And then it was like an exploration of I did vaudeville stuff growing up, and I sang in a little a cappella trio in my high school called the A Cappella Fellas. Yeah. And we were like stars in our high school, I think.
You were stars.
Yeah, we felt like we were stars, but these are dear friends of mine that we just like started singing and doing little sketches, and then it was like community theater, and then it just kind of kept kind of evolving. But
was there a defining moment when you said, "I'm going to do this for a living," or try to do this for a living?
I don't think so. It was just something that I just did. Yeah. It just was like I had to do it, and that's what I did. I mean, I also played soccer, and I did a lot of other things in life, but it was something I kept returning to as something that I just needed to do. And so when it came time for larger transitions in life, like going to school, it was those things. Okay, those things, or moving to a place and starting a life. It was all based on trying to do this kind of work. Yeah. Because without the focus, remember, unfiltered craziness, then it's like maybe, headed to Bellevue or something. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, totally.
Who knows?
Well, you have this incredible 18-year career, so we're going to do a speed round of sort of going through your career, and just sort of tell me what comes to mind, a story or a memory.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm ready. I'm going to, hold on.
Okay. You say when. Focus.
Yeah, I have to focus, or it's going to get crazy.
Okay. Go back to being 5 in that clown school.
I'm ready.
All right. I think the first time I saw you...
Wicked. No, sorry. See, I lost it.
Corpus Christi.
Ah.
That
Yes.
controversial Terrence McNally
Sure.
play. Remember going downstairs at MTC when
Uh-huh.
there was like security people everywhere?
Yep.
There was like bomb
Bomb
scares,
dogs.
bomb dogs, you know,
Yep, the whole
bomb
deal.
scares and all
Yeah.
the bomb dogs and
Yeah.
everything else. Favorite memory of doing that show, Corpus Christi?
I can't.
Yes, you can. Tell me, because I knew this story. Tell me. Khakis.
Well, first of all, I met some of my best friends that I still have to
Yeah.
this day on that show. It's an amazing cast that emerged from that show. But there was one night
Yes.
I was the guy playing Jesus was doing the Lord's Prayer. I was down below him. I had just kissed his feet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of grouchy that night, and he says Hallelujah, and then all the apostles, we scream Hallelujah at the same time. It's a show, you don't leave stage. You're on stage the whole time, and I screamed Hallelujah. I gave it a little extra Hallelujah. And I was convinced that I had, in my khaki pants, soiled myself in front of Manhattan Theater Club subscribers.
That's a really serious play.
It's a very serious play, and that was a really serious thing that happened to me.
A life-changing show for you, Encores, Babes in Arms.
Oh, the best.
Yeah.
I remember that audition. Kathleen Marshall called me in for a dance call, and I did a dance call.
Yeah.
And this was like real Broadway dancers doing real Broadway dancing. It was one of the most ego-shattering moments of my life. Like, I could not do any of it. And so she kept me for the end, and I had to go in, and I was dancing, and it was so bad that I took my shirt up over my head, and I started just being silly. And I believe that was the moment that I got the job.
Really?
Yeah.
But you met someone.
And then I met someone, Jessica. I met my wife, Jessica Stone, on that. On the first day we met, we had to kiss for 8 counts, doing
and that was
an amazing number called I Wish I Were in Love Again.
Yeah.
And we had lunch after that rehearsal, and we both were like, we got to know each other, and it was like we were friends for a little while.
Yeah.
And then we were lovers for the last 17 years.
Yeah. Okay, Saturday night.
Saturday Night.
Yes.
Yep. Directed by Kathleen Marshall. Stephen Sondheim's first musical he ever wrote. And 40 years later, it had its New York premiere.
Oh, yeah. Second stage.
At Second Stage. It was very, very cool. Loved every second of it. Made great friends. And had a great number. A similar, it's like, I just feel like over my 18 years, I just had so many wonderful opportunities of just great numbers. Exhibit A, and working with Kathleen to kind of develop that and figure out how we're going to do that. Still, it's like the same kind of favorite stuff to do.
Sure.
Well, I remember that.
What were your sessions with Sondheim like?
Well, when we did the I have only one real good story from that was we did the album, and I ran through my song once.
Yeah.
And he I was in the Hit Factory, which is a huge room, huge studio, and I was on the way end of it. And so the booth is over in the corner. I finished singing the song, and then the door opens, and out comes Sondheim, and he's walking across the hall, coming to talk to me. And I was, what is he gonna, what is he gonna say? Like, that's how you do it. I'm waiting for and he comes around, and I was like, well, what do you is it okay? And he said, you're not singing the notes that I wrote. You need to sing the notes. So I said, okay, well, can you plunk them out on the piano for me? I said, no. Someone can plunk them for you, but
not me.
So I was like, I just, sheet white.
Yeah.
Learn the notes. This is, by the way, we had been performing the show for months.
Yeah.
Then later came back, said, nailed it.
The phenomenon known as Wicked.
Wicked.
Did you know
What's
early
that?
on that show? It's
Yes,
a little
with
musical.
the witches, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna last.
When did you realize? At what point during the process did you realize this is gonna be a big hit?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it was the first preview, I think it was the first preview.
Yeah.
When I was backstage. When you play Bach, you also come out in the beginning in like everyone puts on like a comforter or something, like a bed sheet comforter, and you come out and you sing to the witches. And I was in there in my little bed comforter, off stage left, and they hit the brum bum 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 bum, and the sound, the wall of sound coming from the almost 2,000 young people that were there was so magnificent. It was so powerful, and that was like,
Young Frankenstein working with Mel Brooks.
Fantastic. So crazy and funny, and nothing quite like dissecting a comic beat with Mel Brooks. And he just is just being around those funny bones was I still treasure that time for sure.
Yeah. Phineas Rainbow.
I'm trying to think. I wear very short shorts.
Oh yeah.
That was fun. Do you know I have very big calves?
You do. You have dancer's calves.
Do you want to feel them? Yeah. No, that's not
my
a thigh. That was a thigh, Richard.
You have big thighs
Yeah,
too. You have
I
nice
feel that.
Wow, you have dancer's
Right?
calves.
I don't know what. I think it's because I don't
Soccer?
know. Maybe it's soccer. I think
It's clown school.
It's clown school.
No, you look good in those little shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
But you used a lot of the clown. Yes, you did. We're going to run a photo of that too when we run this piece. We're going to run you as
Focus in
Og. Focus in on the
those
calves.
yeah.
But you use a lot of the stuff you learned in circus school. In that, right?
Same stuff, yeah. We did have a really cool. Warren Carlyle brought in these guys, these magicians. Matt Holtzclaw came in and we started working on some sleight of hand stuff. And that was really a fun, cool thing that I'd always done magic growing up, but never really learned kind of the true basics.
Yeah.
Instead of with a real magician to kind of start to learn how they work, and then to use some of it in the show was really fun. Yeah.
Okay, you really used your circus stuff in Barnum.
Sure.
Which you did in
Chichester.
There
it is.
Okay. Somewhere near London, right?
Somewhere near, about an hour from London.
Great role
I don't know
for
if it's
you.
south or west. It was a great role. It was really challenging.
The tightrope.
Oh.
How did you do that? What is the secret to walking the tightrope?
It's really interesting. It was like, I started to work on it about a month and a half before I left, which was not, in hindsight, not enough time. Yeah. At a studio in Brooklyn, I would go once a week, twice a week, and just kind of start to work with a teacher who was great. But bringing in all the elements, it was about 30 feet long, it was about 8 feet high, and I had to walk it at the end of Act 1 while singing a song in a spotlight in the round. So as you're walking it, you're seeing British people looking at you, and then and it's a skill. It's a thing that you can either do or you can't do. Unlike so much of what we do is about putting something over, or the skills are they're just, this is an actual, you can either walk the tightrope or you can't. And it was a very different experience for me in the theater.
Being back on Broadway, what it means to you, and this Tony nomination. It's not your first time.
No. It means it's just great. It's the icing on the whole thing. And as I was saying earlier, this particular one, I just wasn't sure where this was going to go, this character, and I wasn't concerned, but I just was I just didn't quite feel it in my bones for a while, where it would go on stage with movement. I just was I just don't know. And so to have it kind of all come together and work, and to have people really respond to it, it's an alchemy. It takes such luck to find yourself with material that suits you, that suits the story, and that you can really excel in, and that also really lands as material for an audience. And when that alchemy happens, it's a great thing that all happens, but it's also just the lucky break.
Sure.
There's so many unbelievable people doing unbelievable things all over Broadway, and so to have it kind of all fit in that right place is a great for this year.
finally, what is the best bit of advice that you've been given, both personally and professionally, that you live by?
As an actor, I think it's was from this director, Nicholas Martin, who was my favorite friend and favorite director of all time. He always said, make the positive choice. And I always come back to that when I'm working on anything. And I think what that means is it's less about making the happy choice, but making the positive choice, the choice in a story that moves the story forward. It always, even if you're playing a character that's in a dire situation, remembering that phrase always helps kind of propel things forward in playing a character or telling a story. And the other piece of advice I would give would be this: to surround yourself with just people that get you, that get your weirdness, and that love your weirdness, and that you love their weirdness, and you and how valuable my friendships have been and my relationships in this little community have been.
Yeah.
And one of those.
Oh, get over here,
this
you.
guy.
Oh.
Keep racing, let's make mistakes when I say so. And make worse what is already pretty bad. This secret is safe, no reason to throw it away. When there's love to be had, hold me tight as I tell myself you might make sense and make good what has been so bad. Let's see this through. It's a pretty good bet on tea. Me and
This episode of Backstage with Richard Ridge is presented by the Living Room at W New York Times Square, a playful nod to Times Square of the past and a perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of the city.